that's why I'm hosting this segment. But as you can see, I'm not alone, and I'm always bringing in team members, guests, community members into this conversation, really with the intention of just giving you as much value as humanly possible. We are, of course, at Future Females working towards a big launch. This is the launch of our tech platform. I'm sure all of you are on the wait list for that. We'll be opening the doors in a few weeks. And so what you'll be seeing, of course, on our different channels is all of our marketing messaging, sharing the exciting courses we have coming up, the challenges, the features, the fund that we're starting. And it all looks so glossy, or I hope you think it looks glossy, because our design team are putting a lot of work into it. But you know, like I know, that launches are often not the glossy view that you see on social media. So this segment is really an authentic sharing session where we just try to peel back the lid and the layer and share with you what's really going on, what actually is going into this launch behind the scenes from all the different aspects of it. So that is what we're doing here at CEO Diaries. And today, as you can see, I am joined by the incredible Rukeya Mall Evans. I've never said your full name, Rukeya.
Yes.
This is the first time. The lovely Rux, as we know her internally. And we're going to be discussing all things admin, operations, prioritization. So for those of you who are joining and perhaps feel like your list is so long, where do you focus? Maybe you're starting things but not being able to finish them. This is what this discussion is all about. So before we jump into it, just a quick reminder that we have a prize every week when we do CEO Diaries. This prize is available to one of you, and you are going to be able to win an item of Future Females merchandise. So your choice of merch, I'm not wearing my t-shirt today, but it could be a t-shirt, could be our tracksuit, our water bottles, our tote bag, anything that you choose. And all you have to do is interact, because you have knowledge like we do, and we'd love to help and facilitate you sharing that, because then the whole community rises together. So we're on Facebook now, we're on LinkedIn, we're also now live on YouTube. So we're good to kick off and get stuck in. So share as much as you can. And in fact, maybe just start by saying hello, let us know where you're joining from, and we'll go from there. Great. Let's start by introducing my incredible guest. So this is Rukeya, or Rux. We have had such a fairly long journey together now and been through many programs, iterations of the business. So I probably can't do Rux justice by way of intro, but she really is. I always say to the team, Rux is like my spirit animal. She is the perfect complement for what I snap at. Rux is one of the most organized people I've ever met. She is super empathetic, wildly passionate about female empowerment, and really just keeps all of us accountable to taking the right action consistently. Not only is she part of Future Females, but she also runs her own business, empowering other women to become virtual assistants and take control of their own finances. So, Rux, without further ado, thank you for joining me.
Lauren, thank you so much for having me. And I'm so excited and honored to be a guest on your show. And I'm really hoping that the session is going to be full of great, impactful information for your viewers.
Yes, absolutely. So, Rux, I know I introduced a little bit of, who you are on LinkedIn, if I can put it like that. But maybe you can just share a bit of your story around how you came to be so passionate about female empowerment and, I guess, joined us here at Future Females.
Yeah, our encounter was, if I could say, serendipitous, and I truly feel like it was meant to be. But I started my business as RME Virtual Assistant Services in 2015, right? And at the time, it was just something small to keep me busy, and I really started helping businesses in my local community, which is a previously disadvantaged colored community, right? So I was assisting local businesses and nonprofit organizations with their administration and trying to streamline their processes, right? And while I was working with them, I loved the work that they were doing because they were offering entrepreneurial training to stay-at-home moms, to divorced women, and women in general to start their own businesses and try to be contributing members of the community, right? And also to try and make ends meet for them. So um, their work is basically really what changed the way I wanted to take my business forward. And that was with two questions in mind. And number one is the question of how I can contribute to the recognition, the validation of our women in the community and the roles that they fulfill. And the second question was, how can I help them contribute and also see the tremendous benefit they bring to their families and also by extension our communities, right? Because I know you know this about me because it's something that I love about you also, because I firmly believe that when powerful women have access to money, they can make a difference, right? And it really starts with us. So this prompted me to start developing a course myself. And how can I fulfill those questions, take my business forward, excuse me, and show women how they can start their own virtual assistant businesses? Because I've been through the teething problems, I've done the research, I know what works and I know what doesn't work. And I came across future females in my research, and I was so happy. And if I can admit, Lauren, I actually stalked you for a while. I'll stalk.
It doesn't surprise
Yes.
me, Max. You're very thorough.
Yeah, I have to do my research because I loved what I saw at the beginning, what you firmly believe in, what you stand for, how you empower women, why you empower women, and the statistics that are so against women when it comes to business and entrepreneurship. It's more towards the males than it is for women, and we're trying to rectify that balance. And generally people before they buy from you, they stalk you. So I did my research and I followed you, I followed your webinars. And because I was at a time that I wanted to train and I wanted to teach people, your course really spoke to me. And you had at the time the course creator mastermind, and what a fantastic course. I mean, I knew what I wanted to teach, I knew how I wanted to teach it, but that course put so much structure in my life. I mean, I'm very organized and I was thorough in the sort of like the modules that I wanted to discuss and the order in which I wanted to train and teach it to make sense for a newcomer. But that course gave me so much structure. It opened my mind to so many things that I wasn't even aware of, even though I did my research on it. And and that is where you and I started working very closely together. I loved that you were the opposite of me, if I could say. You were the strategist, the visionary. You can think up so many things at one time. And I think Flora put it fantastically. You have plan upon plan going forward on that one topic. And I'm quite organized. I need structure. I need things to be done. And that sort of helped me see it from the opposite perspective, from a CEO's perspective. And how important it is for someone like me as an online business manager to understand my CEO's strengths and their weaknesses, because I then fill in the gaps and I then am the support system and the structure and if I could say the safety net, for a CEO. And that's how we started. Yes, I did my course through you, and it has been happy days since then.
I love it. Thanks for that, Rax. I always love you sharing your story. I think like two things that really have stood out for me is, and I can see so many people now saying hi and they're joining from different places. Welcome, welcome. I think one of the things that really struck me is that you are a spokesperson for female empowerment, and we share the same common values, but communicate them in a very different way and probably resonate with very different segments of the female entrepreneur ecosystem. And I always think, as a female entrepreneur, even if your business is not female empowerment, you actually are also playing that role. You're trying to build your business, but at the same time, we're really trying to move the needle when it comes to female participation in entrepreneurship
Yes.
as a holistic female community. So I think it's actually important for everyone tuned in to consider how that's coming through the work that they're doing, whether it's explicit or not.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I always have that as a driving force in my business. It's always always the female community, and specifically also the Muslimas, the Muslim women, how we can contribute going forward to the communities, because we are educated. It's just getting that confidence and getting rid of that imposter syndrome that we can do this, we have more to offer, and we can take control of our finances. um, and it's amazing because that's always the driving force for me in what I do in my business. And a part of what I do yearly is I take a handful of women for free through my course. um, those that can't afford it, those that can afford it, but they're struggling somehow, whatever the situation is, I take 5 people for free through the course, and we spend 3 months together working on their businesses. And it's so amazing because they've got so many skills, Lauren. I'm telling you, they are creative just by nature, just natural talent. And it's not a course that they've gone to or designed. They learn themselves, teach themselves through Canva, online apps. And I just harness that, hone in on it, and give them the confidence to take that forward.
Yeah,
So yeah, that's
exactly.
amazing.
But also, I mean, you stand as a symbol for Muslim women to show up online, where, of course, what you're going to wear is going to look different to what I'm going to wear. But like you were just saying, you have the same concerns behind the
Yes.
scenes, the same imposter syndrome, the same confidence. We're all the
Yes.
same. We just look different.
Yeah. And that's one thing I have to tell you, Lauren. It's through this course and through watching you and what I've learned from everything, I've actually rebranded. I am no longer RME Virtual Assistant Services. I am operating under my name, Rukeya Mall, because it's the one
Woo!
thing that I learned from you is to step out of that, step out from behind the logo. Because in all of this, I have seen that people don't want to deal with a logo. People don't want to
Mm,
deal with a picture. They want to see the person. They want to see what the business is all about, what values you stand for, and are you living those values? Are you showing it? And I mean, that's why I stalked you, so that I could see that you were doing. And by the same way I did that for you, obviously somebody would want to know, like, what is Rukeya legit? Is can she provide the services that she's talking about? Does she stand for all of this? So it is all a process. I've just started, so I'm really getting out there. I'm telling
mm.
you, reels, it's a nightmare. So that's social media. I should hire a virtual assistant for social media management.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Nothing's more powerful than the simplicity of just being yourself, but it's sometimes more easy said than done. I want
Yeah.
to um, I want to come to now, I guess,
Yeah.
honing a bit more into the topic, because I firmly believe everyone needs a Rukeya in their lives, unless you are Rukeya. But for every entrepreneur and founder tuned in, so often I get asked, like, what should I outsource first? And for me, it is the administrative tasks, because it can be outsourced, it can be systemized, and it can save you a hell of a lot of time if you have someone. And I fundamentally believe the mission alignment is critical in finding that person. It's not just admin tasks, it's admin with the layer of touch point to customer, representation of brand, and all of that. But
Yes.
definitely get yourself a Rukeya if you don't have one. Rax, my question to you. Operations and management is, I guess, a central running theme through your career. So, what is it that drew you to that?
Well, firstly, thank you so much for that. Everybody needs a Rukeya. I will gladly train anybody who wants to be. But that's a brilliant question, Lauren. And I think firstly, we need to understand that operations in general is the heartbeat of every business, right? Because your finances and your human resources are generally invested in making your product, or in my case, delivering services, right? And because operations, it's such an essential part of running a business, that managing the operations becomes critical to the success of your business. And not only that, it's having the skills in the area to manage the operations, it becomes equally important. And the skills I'm talking about, they're technical skills, analytical skills, people management skills, organizational skills, which is top and most common, and sometimes decision making skills, right? And most business owners, they don't have these skills, and that's their weakness, and it can become overwhelming for them. So this is basically, as an online manager, how it's become a running theme through my business. It's operations is so critical to anyone's business success. And my experience and my nature and the gap in the market, and I guess my qualifications, that's really propelled me in that direction, you know? Yeah.
And thinking then, I guess, about the other side, your clients, people like me, what is it? What is the biggest struggle that they're having? And maybe we can also open this to everyone who's tuned in. When it comes to your operations, management, admin, literally, what is the burning thing that's giving you frustration right now? If you can share, and then Rux, if you can share from your perspective, I think it would be really valuable.
Yeah, that's a very good question because some of my clients they can really have a hard time explaining what they need, right? So I try and set a great working relationship from the beginning so that these things are really clear and so that I'm clear and settled in my mind on what's needed and what they need. So the struggles are generally across the spectrum. So if I can give you a few examples, we're talking about daily admin, month-end admin, project management, team management, sometimes schedule management. But I think the end result for the client is the same. Um, it helps them with their mental space, right? So having
Yeah.
somebody help them, it gives them the peace of mind that knowing that I have these things under control for them because there's a structure in place. It's organized, it's tracked, it gets done, and more importantly, it's properly filed so that they can find it. So yes, I think it's getting organized. I think that's the struggle that they have, and I help them by putting a sustainable structure in place. And as an online business manager, like I said before, I need to understand my CEO's strengths and weaknesses so that I can protect their time. So it is getting organized. No matter what industry that they're in, it's always the same: getting organized, getting structure, and putting a process and procedure that is sustainable for them to follow and to hand over to somebody new that comes along as they scale. Yeah.
Absolutely. I think that's so important, and something that I've learned over and over again is that, of course, getting the task done is important, but if you can document the process to do that task, or even better yet, automate through a system how to do that task, then it's never going to be added to your list again. And so that's really, how I see your role. Of course, you are a gun at punching out the actual work, but also kind of just removing that work from the
Yes.
table, something I definitely value.
Absolutely, and it's so important that you document it because it fulfills so many roles, Lauren. Or you document it for staff turnaround. If there's somebody new that comes in, there's already a procedure in place. The engines are working. Just fall in line and follow this procedure. It also helps you to glean some insights on how your process is actually working. Like, where do I need to automate things? Is this step really necessary? Am I wasting time? Because time is money at the end of the day, and it's time that you're not going to get back. So let's be efficient, and it serves a lot of purpose. and and it greatly helps you in the business to document everything. I'm so particular about documentation. I'm so particular about filing it and knowing where to get it, and also the information that is in there, because I need to feel proud of what I have developed for you as a CEO and as a company, because it must add value to you at the end of the day and to your team. And if it doesn't, then we got to rework it. We got to find something that's efficient and effective. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think, like you said before, of course, you save a lot of time. Oh, I love this, Cindy, on Facebook. If
Yeah.
it's not documented, it never happened. Obsessed with this. Um,
Yes.
of course, it saves you time now and in the future, but also, like you were saying, a lot of the work you do is actually giving me peace of mind and confidence. And, delegation has never been a strength of mine. I've had to learn it because I want to do so many things all at one time. But I
Yes.
struggle with things not being done to a really high quality and wanting to
Yes.
rework it myself or with the team. But what I've realized is actually your role allows for that confidence because nothing is ambiguous, right? We have a standard operating procedure for how to set up CEO diaries every week, making sure you have the link, how we're going to issue your prize on time. By the way, there's a
Yeah.
prize if anyone's just joined. All you have to do is post in the comments how to share the recording, to put it in our emails,
Yes.
listed down to the specific T so that literally anyone could pick this up. You could be new to Future Females today, pick it up and do it exactly how it's always been done, which gives
Yes.
me peace of mind, the team peace of mind, but also trust is built for our audiences through consistency. So
Yes.
that also gives our community peace of mind, if I can put it like that.
Yes, and if I could add to that, that's brilliant, Lauren. And another thing, it's one thing to document, but you got to share it with everybody. You have to make the whole entire organization aware of the fact that it is there. This is where you can find it and familiarize yourself with it. Yeah, fantastic.
I feel like you're speaking to me, Rox. You're like, look, I gave you there and it's not in it. Where is it?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think, standard operating procedures maybe don't sound as
Yes.
sexy as like social media content, but I have definitely fallen in love with them because, and
Yes.
it's interesting for someone who's so motivated by freedom. It is the structure and the process to enable that freedom that I've fallen back in love with, and I think you always need both.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm so happy you brought up SOPs. If I could take you down that direction.
Maybe Rack, sorry, just if you can even explain what an SOP is, because I
Oh
know we're
yes,
speaking
awesome.
about them in the chat, but some people might not know.
Okay, so SOPs stands for Standard Operating Procedures, and basically it is exactly that. The standard way in which you operate within your business. Okay, and there's many moving targets in a business. There's various areas that you need to focus on, and you need standard operating procedures in those areas. So it's the very same for a solopreneur. You might think if you're a solopreneur, you don't need standard operating procedures, but you do. You need to know what are your SOPs for billing clients at the end of the month. What are your SOPs when Escom decides to switch the electricity off? Like, how are you going to dealing with your clients? So you got to have a standard operating procedure for everything that happens. Now, obviously, in an organization, it's going to be much bigger. But as small as you are, the sooner you start and you get a handle of it, the easier it is going to be to maintain it later. And yes, it's an agonizing procedure at the beginning. But if you put in the effort and you do it now, it's fine. It's a once off things. It's just maintenance and updating and upgrading as you scale. And or it's okay if you don't scale either, but it's okay that it is there that you can update it. So SOPs are very, very important. Um, Also for a solopreneur. Yes.
100%. I think we don't necessarily, when you're retaining all of your knowledge inside your own head as a solopreneur, you don't necessarily realize the emotional capacity it's taking to recall that and remember it every week.
Yes.
When actually you can use that energy, creative energy, to do your strategy and do your content and stop the recall and rather just like reflect on a procedure and follow it step by step. So I love that you've shared that. I also just want to note,
Yeah.
if you don't have any SOPs, don't worry. I mean, we've all started from nothing, but also don't worry because every startup, of course, is different and you will tailor your SOPs to your context, your offering. But there are a set of standard SOPs that literally everyone should have, right? How do you process orders, deliver refunds, process password resets, those kind of basic things. And we are working on including them inside the platform that we're building for you guys. There's going to be a section called the Future Females Guides. And these guides, each one is literally a step by step screenshotted walkthrough process of how to do something. So it could be, and some of the ones we've made that will be included are like, how the hell to implement your Facebook pixel, because the number of people that get stuck on that because it keeps changing, that will be in there for you. How to set up a landing page, for example, how to send out an email newsletter to your database. You'll obviously adapt these guides for you, but we're giving you that starting point so you don't have to document everything from scratch, because after all, we can copy paste a lot from what's already working. Which is a nice segue for me to just remind everyone our platform is opening in a few weeks. We're only opening it to people on the wait list first. As much as, yes, that's a marketing technique, we want you on the wait list, also because we're building a custom platform, so we can only take in a small group at a time, so we can manage your processes, get your feedback, and also the load on our actual system as we scale up. So make sure you've clicked through and are on that wait list so you can get our lovely SOPs as well as all of the other content. Rock,
If I could say,
yeah, you go.
sorry, I'm so excited about this platform. There's so many moving parts at the moment happening at Future Females, and I'm so excited to be a part um, of the bigger picture. I'm if your members really knew what was coming, there'd be so much more excitement because we're working behind the scenes, and it's really thrilling. They're going to be so amazed.
Oh, good. Well, I think that's a tip for me to share even more. Maybe we do a CEO Diaries walkthrough of the actual platform so you guys can see what's coming. I'll schedule that in the next couple of weeks.
Oh, that
So,
would be
Rock,
amazing.
coming back, because I know you have so much practical advice to share. So I'm going to maybe set a little bit of context and ask you for some tips. Of course, we are in a launch, and so a lot of what you're working on behind the scenes is in preparation for that. So I think for everyone who's tuned in, they're probably also preparing for a launch, just come through a launch and looking back, or maybe even thinking about what next to do in their business, which will naturally lead to a new product or a launch. So what advice would you have to women tuned in now around how to approach that best from an operational perspective?
Yeah, brilliant. So there's two pieces of things that you really need to, or from my point of view, that are very important. Okay, and the first piece is you have to have a solid launch plan in place. Okay, and the second one is, I would say, document all your processes. Right. So if you look at the first one of so having a great solid launch plan in place, it's important because it's a guiding tool to line up all your strategies before you introduce your product to the market, right? So when you start working on a big product launch, you have to make sure that you create a well-structured plan according to your goals at the end of the day. And there's one point that I always drive home, and I will always say this, like when it comes to your launch plan, from the start to the finish, you go through every single item and every single task that needs to be done, and you list it, right? Everything that's needed to complete the project. You create a timeline for it, and you assign a person to each task. Now, that's if you are in an organization, but as a solopreneur, you have to do the same if you're launching a product or if you're launching a service that you're offering, right? You need to assign yourself some deadlines, and you need to try as far as possible to stick to those deadlines, and because you could come in under budget, you know. And number two, I'd say what we need to understand is developing a great product is equally as important than launching that great product. So there's steps and activities involved in developing a product and steps and activities involved in launching that product. And this needs to be documented because, like I said before, there's reasons for this, because the goal of processing these documentation is it enables your employees to learn by doing. It helps you to figure out which processes you can automate efficiently and glean insights from your mistakes. So that's very important. Have a good launch plan in place. If you're in a team, make sure that everybody is aware of what's required of them and document as you go along. That's documenting your launch procedure and documenting the actual steps to creating your project, your product or service.
I think I just popped up this because I love it.
Yeah.
Rosaria, thank you. Planning, planning, planning. Absolutely. Nothing makes you feel more in control than literally just operating through a plan and
Yes.
not having to rethink the strategy every step of the way because that work's been ticked off. So I think that's so
Absolutely.
important. But also, Rax, the other thing that you said that I love is the product is as important as the launch. And
Yes.
as founders, you typically have a natural leaning. Are you more of a product development person or more of a marketing and launch person? Some people obviously are both, but for example, I actually started my career as a product manager, but then I very quickly moved into marketing, which is where my natural strength lies.
Right.
And I love being in that space and the experimentation. But ultimately, if you're marketing a shit product, then your launch might go well, particularly a subscription product like we're launching. A month in, 2 months in, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, where are all my customers going? And you're back to square one. So, not to make it sound that dramatic, but it is really important, like you said,
Yes.
particularly to spend time planning the area that you don't naturally feel as drawn to.
Yes. Yes. And it's okay to not know everything, because there are people out there that do know and are skilled in those areas. You just need to tap into those resources and invest in yourself, invest in your business by bringing people on board to assist you. Well,
Yeah.
obviously, affordability, yeah.
Absolutely. I'm just seeing this comment here
Yes.
from Cindy. Cindy, I wish we could just invite you into the conversation to share some of this as well.
Yeah.
But
I love
I
that.
absolutely love how you've broken it down here, the architects versus the firefighters versus the hunters. And I remember reading an article about this. I don't know if it's the exact context you're sharing it in, but it was something like the three modes of the CEO. You need to be the architect and make the
Yes.
plan. You need to hunt and do the marketing and the sales. But then also, you naturally spend a lot of time in firefighter mode because shit's
Yeah.
going to come up and it's going to feel urgent and you're going to spend time handling it. So, absolutely love this
But that's
frame.
when your planning comes in, because obviously we can't plan for every single scenario that's going to hit us. But if we plan enough to make sure that we've covered enough of what we think will go wrong, work out what the risks are, and plans to mitigate those risks, then
Mm.
you have a better sense of comfort and your anxiety levels will go down. That would put you in a better headspace to deal with anything else that comes through, all these unforeseen circumstances. Yeah. So I really like that.
Guys, I'm going to open the floor to additional questions. I have many more, but I also typically like to keep this to 30, 40 minutes. So jump in with any questions you have or anything you're stuck on or any learnings from your side. Obviously, the topic is very much on the operational side of things, project management, admin management for your business. Rax, I think I'm going to ask you
Mhm.
about different tools that you use to manage and, I guess, run a business operationally. If you have some
Yeah.
favorites you can share.
Yeah. So, obviously, running a business, there's a couple of categories that you have to focus on, right? So you're talking about your technology, what's the equipment, the physical equipment that you're going to be used to run your business. We're talking about
Mm,
how you're going to allocate your time and track your time, how you're going to collaborate, how you're going to manage your projects and your workload, and obviously how you're going to communicate then to clients. And this is excluding how you invoice people for your work. So from what I use, if we start with technology,
mm,
fantastic. You have to have reliable Wi-Fi. You have to have a laptop or a desktop. And in my case, I have two monitors. And I'm telling you, this is a game changer, especially for the work that I do. It
mm,
really helps me be more productive and I can push out work much faster and quicker, leaving time for myself, right? So time allocation, how I efficiently allocate my time and use my time. Um, and there's an app called Toggle that I track my time. And then for collaboration, I'm a fan of free stuff. So anything Google related is everything. They have everything you need to run your business. Okay. You've got free tools as in your Word, Excel, PowerPoint, all your collaboration tools that you need to work with clients. You've got storage to securely share and file your documentation. Um, and then we've got um, the collaboration. That's how you can work.
mm,
And then we've got Zoom for meetings. That's how I collaborate. All free stuff. Yeah, and for project management, favorite is Trello. I mean, there are other tools out there that you use. And I love what Flora said in your last meeting is that you got to find what works for you, right?
mm,
But you've got to take the time to really master that tool. And you've got to take one and stick with it and see it through. So efficiently, I'm very efficient with Microsoft tools. So I really stick with what I know. And there are online apps that you can use to help you, but I stick with what really helps me get things out fast and how I track things, especially my clients, right? And
mm.
for communication, I love it. Slack, WhatsApp, and email. That's it. That's so efficient and it's so quick. And there's no delay in conversations and chatting between me and my clients, and especially with you, very quick WhatsApp, email, Slack notifications to get things done. Yeah.
Love. So just put the link to Toggle in the chat
Okay.
for anyone who wants to grab that and use that. I also think, just picking up on one thing you've said, is that you were referencing of Flora, like find the one that works for you. Most of the tools do the same thing at the end of the day. And so, more often than not, if you're not getting your work done, or it's not that the tool doesn't work for you, it's probably maybe you're underestimating the time that it's needed, which is my common problem. I'm like, that'll take 10 minutes.
Yes.
And then one day extends to 3 days, and I have to redo the entire plan. So, I
Yes.
think I've definitely learned to be a little more conservative with the estimates of timing for myself and for my team, which hopefully they appreciate. But yeah, sticking to the tool. You can waste a lot of time moving between tools that at the end of the day do pretty much the same thing, rather
Yes.
than just learning to master one.
And the one thing that I'm not a fan of is anything taking too much of my time. So once my learning curve starts doing this and the trajectory has to go up, that's where I call it quits. It's like, no, I'll stick to what I know. It's more efficient and my clients are happy. And these tools I can easily manipulate and extract data as and when needed. Because I like stats, I like giving you numbers, and I like showing you this is how far percentage wise that I've gotten through and the percentage that's left, and it's easy to extract that data. Yeah.
But I also love it for myself. I also time track my tasks. I categorize them and block them into 15 minutes. So at the end of the week, I can see where I'm actually spending time, because that really shows you in black and white what you're
Yeah.
prioritizing, where you might not even notice it. As the CEO, I should be focused on revenue generating opportunities, partnerships, sponsorships, marketing, our new platform, keeping the business running through bringing cash flow in. But often when I look at where I've spent time in a day, it's on things that don't generate revenue. And some of
Yes.
them can't be, some of them I have to do, and it has to be me, like signing something. But so often I've just done it because I've thought, like, oh, it's easier to just do it myself. But that's a very short term view of the business, which I think we all need to keep, and I need to keep learning and keep pushing down.
Yeah, if you track your tasks and you track your time, you glean insights. And then that's when you can really see, like, okay, I need a Rukeya in my life. This is really something that I don't need to focus on. It's something I can easily delegate and get rid off my plate and focus on what I want to do. Yeah.
So there's a few questions here. I'm going to
Yeah.
pop up. Let's take one or two. I think we'll go for, just scrolling back up to it. This one from Jessica, which is a really good question, right? It's easy to say everyone needs a Rukeya in their life, but what if you don't have the funds to pay for outsourcing?
Yeah.
Want to take this?
Yeah, so you can do what I did. Because at the beginning, I'm a firm believer of starting where you are. Don't look at anybody else's journey and where they are in their life. You start where you are, you work with what you have. And if you don't have the finances or the resources, you do have the resources, because YouTube and Google is your friend. YouTube, you could just learn anything on there. That was my friend for many, many years. And you're going to have to put in the time, you're going to have to put in the effort, because if that is your goal, to get somewhere, to do something, then you'll need to find the time to learn about it, learn how to do it, and get it done. And obviously, as you get more clients and you get more money and you build your financial resources, then you could opt in for maybe first level assistance or outsourcing. Yeah, I hope
Absolutely.
that helps.
I'm going to add to that as well, Rux. If I think about our first project together, never devalue the opportunity of a trade exchange. So
Oh, yes.
you as a founder have something to offer. Maybe it's your product, maybe it's your expertise. So when Rukeya and I first worked together, I also didn't have budget set aside for admin support or program management. But Rukeya jumped on a call with me and she was like, I really want to do your course. It was a $5,000 course, if I remember. She was like, but I don't want to invest the $5,000. And I said, well, what are your skills? And I was like, they are all the skills I don't have. And so we actually did a trade exchange for the first 3-4 months that we worked together. Rukeya gave me hours and I gave her my course. So always look for those opportunities as well.
Absolutely. And be very careful that you don't sell yourself short also in those exchanges.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, amazing.
Okay, a couple more questions here. Let's
Yeah.
go for this one. Any recommendations for invoicing tools?
Yeah, so what I actually use right now is Wave, and this was before Waves stopped their service to South Africa. So everyone who originally had an account on Wave can continue with that. But there's so many free options out there. You could just research. I don't have them online, but I'm sure I can send a couple to Lauren later, and then
Yeah.
maybe you can put it in the comments. I'll find some for you on that. But there's definitely a lot online. You could even design one in Canva yourself for free. You could,
Absolutely.
yeah, and you can design one in Excel or Word. Um, but if it's an app you're looking for, I can definitely send you some links.
Awesome. That would be great. I'll share the links. I used PowerPoint for invoicing for a long
Yeah,
time. So yeah, as Rak said, PowerPoint or Canva template, it looks professional, and
yeah.
you only then have to change a little bit each time. But we also internally at Future Females we use Zero. So if you are looking for a more robust system that can obviously do your invoicing, but also do your kind of monthly reporting and all of that, I really love Zero.
You see, Lauren, I'm always from the mindset of let's look at free apps that we could use because this is what I'm always trying to train people on as well. So that's where my mind went. Yeah.
But I love it. Free app is Wave, and then like Rolls Royce for later
Yes.
on, maybe Zero.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I also see Marina in the comments on Facebook
Yeah.
recommending Zoho Invoice.
Ah,
Also, really
nice.
love their Zoho is amazing. The suite of apps that they offer and the integrations between everything. Like you can, this sounds basic, but you can like automate your invoice, have it sent out to your client. They'll flag it as done, and it goes straight into your books. Everything that you need, and it's also not just South Africa. It's global, which is good for Zoho, and also invoicing in different currencies. Um, cool. I'm going to take just one more question, Rux, and then we
Okay.
will wrap up. I think let's go for. I'm just going to ask you one. I think it's going to cover a few of the questions that are coming through on different channels. What do you think is the number one thing that people forget or overlook when it comes to being organized in their business that's really holding them back?
Okay. Yeah. All right. So from my point of view, I think being organized really starts with a mindset, like everything else, right? Now, if you have a cluttered brain, it really makes it difficult for you to feel organized, and it will delay your ability to focus and be productive, right? Because if there's multiple stimuli competing for your attention, then you have a harder time being focused. So, one of the best ways that I find that helps declutter my mind is to take those thoughts and all those tasks that's floating in my brain and I write them down. Either on a spreadsheet, piece of paper, pen and paper works as long as it is out of your brain, because getting them on paper and out of your head, it really allows you to let go of the responsibility to have to remember them. And I think you mentioned that earlier. It's also just get it out, stop thinking about it. And this is why I have so many impact lists, because I always make sure that I take everything out, and they forget to organize those thoughts. Right, so now you need to categorize them into what is home, what is business, what is work, what is family, and from there on you then break it down into priority. What is priority on these lists and what can I work out quickly? But then it goes back to blocking that you mentioned also earlier, is that put it in your calendar. So you set an hour out for, all right, this is what I'm taking this hour and I'm spending on my business. So let me get my impact list for my business. What is it that I can knock out in an hour here? The next hour, obviously taking breaks in between, we're not machines, but the next hour you will allocate to home, business. As long as you have your list, you can then prioritize and work through it. But I think they forget to just get it out. Stop remembering, because it causes anxiety and you forget things. So I think that would be the first step. Write it all down, then categorize it, and then plot it in your diary. Because if you time block it and it's there, then you know you can work on it. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love that advice. I think something that I'm not good at is honoring my own diary blocks, right? Because as we were chatting about earlier, one of the roles you're always playing as a founder is firefighter. So you just jump onto the urgent things rather than kind of honoring the uh, everything else that you've put into your plan months
Yeah.
before, knowing it needs to be done at this point. And it kind of has that knock-on effect. When you start
Yeah.
sacrificing one thing, then the whole rest of your plan is thrown a little bit out of whack. Actually, that's the last question I'd like to ask you.
Okay.
What do you do when your whole plan goes out of whack? For example, I'm moving house today, right? You know this. My move has been very like all over the place. It's extended way longer than I wanted it to. Still going to be moving tomorrow. So literally can't do the tasks in my plan.
Yes.
How do you manage that? And do you literally have to just replan everything from that point, or what's your advice?
Well, firstly, I take a moment to breathe, right? Because the plan I put in place is not working, which is fine because we plan, but the Almighty plans better, right? So that is why I have my impact list. And I always understand, and we all need to understand that life happens. We have family, we have things to do, and everything doesn't go according to plan always. But when that happens, I schedule it and I move it to the next day. Because if there's nothing I can do about it today, that's fine. I move my focus because I have other impact lists, right? I don't waste my time, honestly. I try, or at least I try not to. So if what I plan, I can't get to it now, like a couple of contracts or a couple of things that I need feedback from you, that's fine. I've got other things to work on. And if I'm waiting, for example, for feedback from you or some direction from you, I mean, I don't sit on my thumbs. You have a couple of other heads of your departments, fantastic, phenomenal women that I could bounce things off and I ask them for direction and I move on. So it's all about what you can manage and also being a bit proactive. And also, guys, if you just don't feel like doing it, it's fine. It's fine. Just let it go. We'll try again tomorrow. Today was a shit show. Tomorrow may be better. you know?
I love it. I think that's a pretty good note for us to wrap up on, Rux. So I want to say thank you for sharing so much and also such practical advice. I think everyone's walking away with a tip or a tool or multiple to help them get a bit better organized, including myself. So thank you for joining me.
Thank you so
And
much for having me. It was such a wonderful thing. I always love chatting to you. And like I said, the experience that I had with Future Females is none that I've ever had before. And I will cherish it forever. And I actually plan to stay with you guys forever and a day.
well, I hope so. It's like this sounds like a resignation, and you're not leaving me at this point, Rux. There's no way.
Never.
When I say everyone needs a Rukeya, I'm also like, but please get your own. We do have one more thing to do, which is to award our prize winner. So,
Yes.
yay. So, before we jump off, if anyone doesn't know, every CEO Diaries, we pick someone who has been sharing in the chat their experiences, asking questions, being vulnerable, really because it's a lot more fun for us if we're having this as a two-way conversation. And also, we're a community at the end of the day. So the more you share, the more the rest of our community can benefit from your learnings too. So the prize is your choice of Future Females merch. Whichever item you like best, we're going to send over to you. And I'm going to pop our winner up on screen now. It is Cindy Haywood
Yay.
Bode, who is watching over on our Facebook page. Cindy, thank you. You've been sharing so much. We've enjoyed the frameworks you've been referencing as well. But also, what I love is that you're circling back and celebrating another community member who's been sharing through this session. So that makes me so happy. After all, that's what it's all about, women helping other women to rise. So thank you and congratulations on your
Yes.
prize.
Congratulations.
Yay. Please just DM us your email address, and I'm sure we have it because you're also a graduate of ours. But if you can just send over the best one, we'll get in touch about how to ship your item out to you. Yay. Okay, amazing. So I'm going to wrap it up there, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in, whether you're live with us now or watching this as a replay. We really are so excited to host these sessions and speak super authentically about what really goes in behind the scenes of building any business, I guess, and launching a product or service. Let us know if there are topics that you'd like us to cover, maybe things that are like stressing you out and you're just waiting for it to come up in these weeks, but we're going to happily organize it for you. Next week, same time, same place, whichever channel you're on, I will be back. And I will be back with Nicole Mountain. So Nicole has actually been running our Founders Club. So she's a program manager, also very in touch with the product side and customer development, how to collect, analyze, and then act on the most relevant customer information in a way that can add more value to them, which obviously then allows you to add more value to your business. So I am excited to have her joining to discuss all things that and customer really engagement and retention as well. Cindy, just send us a DM on Facebook. You can just message it through or pop us an email, hello@futurefemaleshq.co. If anyone wants our email, that is what it is. We love your ideas and feedback. So yeah, thank you so much, everyone. Have a beautiful rest of your week. And Rux, thank you again. Absolutely
Thank you
loved
so
it.
much.
Speak soon.
Thank you. Bye.